Hello and welcome to the Week in Pensions, brought to you by the Pensions team at Gowling WLG. I'm Ian Chapman-Curry, and each week I bring you the latest important developments on pensions law and regulation, along with general news highlights from the world of pensions. You can find out more about the team here at Gowling WLG and sign up for alerts at gowlingwlg.com/pensions-UK. This week's main news update is that the government is consulting on changes to public sector pension schemes in the wake of the Court of Appeal's decision in McCloud. In total, 3 consultations have been published. The first consultation is on proposals to remove age discrimination from the local government pension scheme in England and Wales. This consultation follows on from the McCloud decision that found that transitional protections given to older members in the Judicial and Firefighters Pension Scheme directly discriminate against younger members in those schemes. In line with government commitment to remove the difference in treatment from all public service pension schemes with similar protections, the Ministry of Housing, Communities and Local Government is now consulting on proposals that would extend the LGPS statutory underpin protection to younger members of the scheme. Specifically, the government is proposing to remove the condition that required a member of the LGPS to have been within 10 years of their normal pension age on the 1st of April 2012 in order to be eligible for underpin protection. The consultation is asking for views on this central proposal and on supplementary changes to ensure the revised underpin works effectively and consistently for all members, as well as on the draft regulations. The underpin was introduced in April 2014 as part of a series of changes to the benefit structure of the LGPS, and this first consultation closes on the 8th of October 2012. The second consultation covers public service pensions, and this consultation also follows on from the judges and firefighters' decision and aims to remedy the discrimination identified in the policy of transitional protection that was part of the 2015 reforms to public service pension schemes. HM Treasury's consultation sets out its proposals for addressing this discrimination together with its plans for the future. This consultation covers the main public service pension schemes for which the UK government is responsible and includes the Civil Service Pension Scheme, the Firefighters Pension Scheme in England, the Teachers Pension Scheme in England and Wales, and the NHS pension schemes in England and Wales. Broadly, the government's intention is that all members will be in reformed schemes by the 1st of April 2022, and that legacy schemes will then be closed to all members whilst maintaining final salary links. Members will be given a choice as to whether to accrue benefits in respect of the relevant period in their reformed scheme or in the legacy scheme, i.e. to remedy the identified discrimination. And this second consultation closes on the 11th of October 2020. In addition, the government's Actuaries Department has published a technical bulletin on public service pension schemes which sets out a useful summary of the issues around transitional provisions that were introduced, the proposals for remedying the discrimination identified, and the plans for future service provision. And this is based on the update the Chief Secretary of the Treasury gave to Parliament. The third consultation is on proposals to reform judicial pension arrangements. The third consultation follows on from the Senior Salaries Review Body's major review of the judicial salary structure back in 2018, which highlighted problems within the judiciary around recruitment and retention, attributed them in the main to the pensions change introduced back in 2015. In June 2019, the government responded to the findings of the Senior Salaries Review Body with an undertaking to develop a pensions-based solution for the whole of the judiciary. This consultation sets out that proposed solution. The aim is to have a reformed pension scheme in place by April 2022. The consultation closes on the 16th of October 2020. Now on to some other developments in pensions law and regulation for this week. The government has announced it will be launching a new Kickstart scheme to employ individuals aged between 16 and 24 who are on universal credit or deemed to be at risk of long-term unemployment to help the UK's economy recover following the COVID-19 pandemic. Under the £2 billion scheme, the government confirmed it will fund 100% of the minimum and automatic enrolment employer contributions for 25 hours a week during the 6-month work placements. However, due to the minimum age eligibility for automatic enrolment, those under the age of 22 in the scheme will not be legally required to be auto-enrolled. The Pensions Ombudsman and the Pension Protection Fund's Ombudsman have published their annual reports and accounts. Highlights from the annual reports and accounts include that the Ombudsman now has 98.4 full-time equivalent staff, meaning that the service has doubled in headcount over the last 4 years. Telephone inquiries have increased year on year by 41% to 11,522, and written inquiries by 24% to 8,977. Informal resolutions have risen to 95% in 2019 compared to 80% in the previous year, but full-scale investigations are reducing from 1,528 in 2018-19 to 1,192 in 2019-20, and this is in line with expectations from the introduction of the early resolution procedures. Complaints about transfers top the list of reasons for investigations at 23.6%, followed by misquotations and misinformation at 14.1%, ill health at 9.8%, and administration at 9.1%. The subject matter of complaints is broadly similar to previous years, but TPO expects an increase in complaints directly resulting from COVID-19, including complaints relating to the furlough scheme, scams and transfers, payment of automatic enrolment contributions, pension benefit claims concerning ill health and redundancy, and delays in providing information and processing requests. Also, in what must be the annual reporting season, the Pension Regulator's 2019-20 annual report and accounts were published last week. According to TPR, they demonstrate how the regulator has driven up industry standards and safeguarded more schemes than ever. Some highlights from the report include an emphasis on the use of TPR powers. The examples given are a former charity chairman who received a 5-year jail sentence, the longest prison term TPR has secured, for a £250,000 fraud, and a firm being fined £350,000 for failing to fully comply with automatic enrolment duties. HMRC and HM Treasury have published their response to the technical consultation and draft legislation on the trust's registration aspects of transposing the Fifth Money Laundering Directive into UK law. One of the issues with the draft regulations related to the scope of the exemptions from the obligations set out. In particular, there were concerns that relevant life or accepted group life trusts were not exempt, whereas registered pension schemes were stated to be exempt. Although the exemptions listed include HMRC registered pension schemes, there are still some gaps in the associated draft legislation. Namely, the definitions chosen seem to leave out trusts with more than one policy, an issue which is particularly pertinent to the relevant life or accepted group life trusts, and trusts where the policy can pay out more than one person, which could affect cases with children's cover, and employer-settled medical benefit trusts, despite them being recognised in the consultation and the granting of an exemption to cover insurance-based medical cover. And finally, an update on the progress of the Pension Schemes Bill 2019-21. On the 15th of July 2020, the Pension Schemes Bill received its third reading in the House of Lords. The Department for Work and Pensions confirmed that the bill's second reading in the House of Commons will be scheduled in due course. This means that it won't be passing into law before the summer recess, and it now looks more likely that it will be October or November before the bill receives royal assent. And to finish off this week in pensions, a highlight from the national press. The Financial Times has reported on the reforms to public sector pensions that we covered earlier in this update. The FT report puts some figures on how much it could cost to remedy the situation. The FT notes that the government has estimated that it will cost $17 billion to implement its solution. The changes that were introduced in 2015 were aimed at saving the taxpayer $400 billion over 50 years, largely by shifting millions of staff into less generous retirement arrangements, including higher pension ages. And that's all from the Week in Pensions for this week. Just a reminder that you can find out more about the pensions team at Gowling WLG and sign up for alerts at gowlingwlg.com/pensions-UK. Also, if you'd like to get in touch with me, all my contact details are available at tinyurl.com/GWLGICC. And until next time, I hope that you have a great week in pensions.